device, we have a fun review today as we're talking Knuckles. What an exciting time it's been the last several years being a Sonic fan. I mean, between the video games, but especially the films, and how successful both Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 have been, to the point where we're actually starting to build out a cinematic universe with Knuckles getting his own TV show on Paramount Plus. If you had told me back when the first Sonic film was coming out we'd be getting a Knuckles live-action TV show, I would have called you crazy, especially after the teaser came out with the old Sonic the Hedgehog design. When it comes to the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, by and large, other than probably Shadow the Hedgehog, Knuckles is my personal favorite character in the franchise that isn't Sonic. And with a character like Knuckles, there's tons of potential here building off of Idris Elba's portrayal from the second Sonic the Hedgehog film, giving him his own adventure, trying to teach Wade how to become an echidna warrior. Since this series is the first spin-off in the Sonic the Hedgehog live-action universe, I definitely think that Knuckles makes sense as far as having your first foray into a spin-off. I was really happy they kept the tone overall the exact same from those two Sonic the Hedgehog films. It still has that exact same charm and lighthearted tone, while also acting as a vehicle to develop Knuckles as a character more. Right off the bat in episode 1, we see him strengthen his bond a little bit more with Sonic and Tails. A lot of the fun of this Knuckles-centered series comes from the hilarious hijinks following Knuckles, just trying his best to adapt to life on Earth, trying to find his purpose, since all he's ever known is being a strong warrior. So what does someone like Knuckles do when there's no impending threats? You see early on what Knuckles tries to do to keep himself preoccupied. You know, acting out a little bit at home, creating obstacle courses, making indoor arenas inside of the house. Thankfully, the Knuckles series does have a solid amount of action sprinkled throughout these 6 episodes. The action sequences are well done, feeling exactly like they did in the Sonic the Hedgehog films, and you really get to see Knuckles showcase his power and abilities in those scenes. At the core of the series, it still is a pretty low-stakes adventure. Sure, I mean, there still are some adversaries that do try and take Knuckles out along the way, but I'd still say that this series delves a bit more into the realm of a buddy road trip comedy, which could be a little bit jarring for some Sonic the Hedgehog fans expecting a full-blown adventure that's similar to the Sonic the Hedgehog films. By far, to no one's surprise, the best element to the Knuckles TV show is Knuckles himself, building off that awesome introduction back in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, while also getting the spotlight all to himself this time. Idris Elba continues to be so brilliant voicing Knuckles. He perfectly just captures the simplicity of Knuckles with his performance. It always is great seeing Knuckles fight off these different mercenaries. There's so many other moments throughout this series that are comedic gold. Many of the best gags involve Knuckles just being put in scenarios where he tries to learn the culture of Earth in his own unique way. That alone is incredibly hilarious and charming. He learns to enjoy music, grows fond of things like Cool Ranch Doritos, learning all about Jewish culture because Wade and his family are Jewish. I kid you not, Knuckles becomes an ally to the Jewish community in this series, and many other things that I don't want to spoil for you guys going into this. However, the bulk of the most hilarious sequences do involve the tough love that he gives to Wade along this journey, as he's attempting to turn Wade into a strong warrior while they're on this adventure to Reno, soon quickly finding out how tough of a task that may be, considering Wade is unfortunately kind of a huge loser. Wade is an interesting one because as a character, I think he's kind of a positive and a negative to the Knuckles series. After Wade had kind of a small role in the 2 Sonic the Hedgehog films, it's definitely nice seeing him get more of a spotlight in the Knuckles TV show. There is this enjoyable dynamic between him and Knuckles. They do share a similar arc in many different ways. Each of them want to find some purpose in their lives, and on this adventure together, they do learn lessons along the way. Despite them being very different types of characters, I do think their overall dynamic and friendship by the end does work. I was for sure invested in the two of them being friends by the end. Though at times, however, I do think it is kind of on purpose. Wade can be kind of a grating character. He is pretty immature, but it's more so once they bring in Wade's family to the story. Middle episodes get really bogged down in the story revolving around Wade and why he's going on this adventure, and it did start to lose me a little bit, considering the show started to feel more like The Wade Show, where Knuckles only kind of bookends the human drama. And I feel like I speak for many Sonic fans in the fact that we come to these shows for the characters from the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise and not the human drama as much. Part of the reason why I probably feel this way is due to the way that this show is chopped up. I think it's chopped up in a very odd way. I said before, it's 6 episodes, but all 6 episodes of this show are incredibly short. Every single episode is between 20 to 30 minutes long, so some of these episodes feel off pacing-wise because everything's moving so quickly. To put into perspective, even though I'm not a huge fan of episodes 3 and 4 in the Knuckles TV show, it's only about like 40 minutes of the entire show. That's why for this show, I completely understand why they're just dropping all 6 episodes at once. It does not have an episodic 1 episode per week type feel to it. Some of the episodes end in a very weird way that it doesn't feel like a natural cliffhanger style ending. It's a similar dilemma that we've seen come across in some of the Marvel Disney Plus shows, in that they very much just feel like movies that were chopped up into 6 to 8 episodes. Knuckles for sure has that feeling. With the way that the story unfolds over 6 episodes, and each episode is relatively short, I wouldn't be surprised if one point in time this was just going to be a Knuckles movie, and then they decided later on this was going to be a 6-episode TV show. I alluded to Knuckles' adversaries a little bit earlier, and I completely understand it is difficult to have a villain that matches that level of iconicness and charisma as Jim Carrey as Eggman, but the villains for the Knuckles TV show are mildly underwhelming. Honestly, I wouldn't even say they're bad, they're just incredibly middle of the road. The performances from all of them, I think, are solid with the material they're given, especially Kid Cudi. It seemed like out of everybody, he was trying his best to give a fun performance. Thought it was pretty cool that they actually gave these characters some sort of weaponry tech that's powered by Quill, so they can have these battles with Knuckles, and it seems like somewhat of a fair fight. It's just the fact that in the overarching story, these adversaries kind of feel like afterthoughts. The worst of them all being Rory McCann, who most people probably know as the Hound from Game of Thrones. More or less, he's set up as the big bad, the Dr. Robotnik of the Knuckles TV show. For some reason, he only appears in a handful of scenes over the course of these 6 episodes, so you don't have a lot of time to get interested in the character or understand a lot of his motivations. Eventually, there's 1 or 2 lines of dialogue that connects him to the overarching Sonic universe built out, and why he even wants to stop Knuckles in the first place. But by the time we get to the end of the series and there is that final battle between him and Knuckles, still definitely is pretty cool when it does happen, but it did leave me wishing that we had a little bit more of face-to-face between these 2 characters. Much like many spin-offs, I definitely think that this show is for the Sonic fans, the big Knuckles fans out there. There are quite a lot of Easter eggs from the video games put all throughout the 6 episodes. I think it accomplishes its goal very efficiently as far as holding people over for a fun time before Sonic the Hedgehog 3 comes out, because it is a low-stakes adventure. It's great to build up Knuckles as a character before Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I wouldn't say the Knuckles TV show sets up anything big that you would need to see before heading into Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It doesn't have like a big cliffhanger ending or a post-credit scene that's going to be leading into Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It's a very self-contained adventure. Some Sonic the Hedgehog fans definitely could be disappointed by that, or the fact that Sonic the Hedgehog and Tails do not predominantly feature in the show. The screen time that we do get with them is great, but they're not a major fixture except for early on in the series. All in all though, the Knuckles TV show I think is a blast as a spin-off for the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Idris Elba continues to kill it as Knuckles the Echidna. Depending on your expectations going into this Knuckles TV show, I think you're going to have a blast with it. It's an incredibly fast binge. It's 6 episodes, 25 to 30 minutes long. You can probably finish it in a day easily. But now you've heard my thoughts on this series. Once you get a chance to check out Knuckles on Paramount Plus, share your thoughts down below. How'd you feel about the show? Did you like the show? Did you not like the show? Do you think it's a great addition to the Sonic the Hedgehog universe they're building out over at Paramount? Either way, make sure you share your thoughts down below, because part of the fun is to have the conversation with you guys in the comment section. Thank you guys, as always, for checking out the videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure to leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. Till next time, I'll see you guys later.